Welcome to Dash Talks Live. I'm Mark Stern, founder of custom box agency dash-and-cardex.com, and someone who believes great businesses aren't built by accident. They're built by design. On the show, we'll sit down with founders, builders, and bold thinkers to impact how they're growing their business, designing unforgettable customer experiences, and turning great ideas into real momentum. If you're an entrepreneur who believes execution matters just as much as vision, then you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, Mark Stern here with another Dash Talks Live show, and I'm here with the one and only Steven Larsen. Steve, how are you doing? It's good seeing you.
Rockin', excited to be here. It's been a while.
I actually think this is the first time that we've ever done a podcast together, which is kind of crazy. And we're going back. I had you as a mentor back in 2018, my first year of 2CCX. So that makes us dinosaurs that we've been in the game as long as we've been in the game, which is crazy to think.
We survived onboarding.
We've survived onboarding. I love it. Before we go too far, I would love for you just to introduce to our listeners who you are. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. I'm an internet marketer. I've been doing this for, I can't believe now, man. It's been 11 and 12 years, something like that.
It's
and
crazy.
Built a lot of funnels. We built an event studio in Boise. And right now, I'm really excited. This 5-year research project I just finished rough drafting a book. Got 2 more on the way. And I believe that I'm trying to champion capitalism as a good thing. So maybe that's a version of the intro.
I mean, I will say this though, you're doing a great job of it. I think that the spotlight that you've done and like how the effect that you've had has been, I think you've handled it more than anything in a way that makes sense and that's its own brand for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what it is.
Yeah. But I think you make it fun too at the same time. I'm curious though, of the things that you are working on in your world right now, what is the thing you're most excited about?
Man, there's actually a lot. We're obviously deep into the AI stuff. We're developing 3 different softwares in there. There's honestly these books I've been putting out. The world has been, I think one of the problems with so much information now is that, it's funny because I feel like the info product space took a little bit of a dive, but it's almost like it's come back because people are like, hey, now there's too much info. And so I'm really excited by these books I've been working on. And then really the thing that has been, I mean, we shut everything else down to just do this thing that we call a stage book, which has been cool. I am most excited by everything going on right now with the fact that I feel like what's going to happen is people are going to need to find their voice, like personal brand matters more than it ever has now. But to do that, it's been fun to watch people like find, what do I believe? Do I have the confidence to say it? Is there, and so it's that's what's been super cool for me with all the AI and all the things happening right now is I almost feel like it's forced humanity to go on a little bit of a self-discovery journey.
It's so true. I mean, for not only is it the personal brand, I also think relationship and how you are building relationship and building relationship at scale is a different conversation. Why do I love custom box agency? I love it because we're analog, we're offline. And I actually think that as you see this rise of AI, you're seeing this rise of digital distrust. Is this video I'm watching real? Is this person I'm talking to real? And the need for like in-person or analog, the ability to ship you something in the mail that's actually real. I think that we're going to see this rise in this age of AI. It's physical products have a new home that is coming back online in a big way because that's how life was in the 90s and 80s. It would be you would have experts building boxes that had their genius in it and sending it out. You could find it in the back of the magazine or on the infomercial. And for me in this day and age, like I think we want that. We're yearning for that more than ever. And it's not about physical or anything or in person. It's about how the two worlds enable each other, the coming together of them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Stage book. I think this is a genius concept. I'm actually shocked I haven't heard of a concept like this before because to me it's that good. Share a little bit more. What is stage book? Tell me a little bit about the vision. What made you do it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe this is like an ego stroke. I don't know. But I did go onto Claude and different AIs and I was like, here's what we do. Find the competitors. And it's like, no one does this. And I was like, it's kind of the result of several years of slowly observing this pattern, which is that whoever does events and puts out books, they tend to take over markets pretty quickly. And most people think you have to be big to do an event, but I've actually learned it's the opposite. You get big by doing them. Like you capture market share very quickly by doing events. In fact, a lot of the companies I've bought into or started or just taken on with clients, when they're new or we're new or whatever, the first thing we do is an event. It expands the walls of your market very, very quickly. Also makes your competitors sweat a little bit. Oh my gosh, this guy's serious. And then I started going deep onto the data behind companies that do events and what happens to them. And it's wild. You get a 2 times higher lifetime value from the customer from someone who's come to an event. You also get a 50% faster sales cycle, usually a 2 to 3 times higher conversion rate than you normally do. I mean, I was like, so why do we do anything else? And I started looking back and I was like, yeah, I could keep doing webinars, I keep doing challenges, keep doing all this stuff, but there's nothing like an event, be that in person or virtual. Um, in person is obviously the best. But then one day I realized that, and this might be a little weird, but yeah, I really bled to build our event studio, our event space. And, so sometimes I'll clean it on my own, you know, and I don't know, I think it's energetic maybe. And I was cleaning it, and I had one of those like God thoughts. I was vacuuming right next to the stage, and I had one of these thoughts. Your stage was never meant just for you. And I was like, oh, it was very clear. Sorry. It was like 2.5 years ago. I was like, I'll fix my ways. So I started looking at how do we turn the stage into an actual platform? Like, and I think that this is part of the big shift that everyone's going to start making in the entrepreneur space in general. We have to go from offer thinking, product thinking to platform thinking.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my dad about this. He runs the AI division at Gartner, and he's like, "What you're describing in the software world is actually known as platform engineering." And I was like, "I need to be looking at this as a platform. I mean, it's a literal platform and that it's a stage, but what's the what's the platform I'm putting people on? Come for a stage, come on stage for 2 days, teach your expertise in front of a small group, and each speech is designed to be a chapter in a future book, and then go through the publishing company and write a book the real way. And then we go build the event funnel, book funnel, help them launch it, send them on a PR tour, podcast tour, all that stuff. And then the key piece with it is that we stopped because we used to do this, but then we were like, it's 100 grand, which was cheap still. But then we're like, let's make it nothing, and we'll just take an affiliate position on the back, and we'll make money if they do. And so we're really stoked. We created Capital Speak Publishing, and it's a publishing company that makes money if the author does, and they keep their IP at the same time. And I was like, this platform, we can only do this with AI. We can only do this with, changing the way we think in more of a platform mindset. And I really think that entrepreneurs that are going to survive this transition have to kind of adopt that a little more.
Yeah, there's so much that I want to break down of what you just said. When I was at Deloitte, one of the things that we started to do with projects is we can do a big sticker shock value to a client to be like, we could do this engagement for this rate. Or they started exploring incentive based structures. And incentive based structures are you pay us based on the result. So if we don't get a big result, we don't get a big pay. But if we get a huge result for you, then we get a huge pay. And so in that sense, like we have skin in the game. Our interest is yours, which I actually think is a fundamental shift that I hope to see a lot more in the entrepreneurship game, because what I keep seeing are these scenarios that it's you only with client service. The goal of client service should be if my client wins, I win too. Like that should be the simple 101 ground floor. If my client wins, I win too. You don't want to be in a situation that when my client loses, I win because you
Yeah.
paid me for the service. I got money from it, but I didn't deliver the result. And so that creates this unhealthy balance. But this incentive based structure, what's really cool about it is when you crush it for them and you help your clients win, what are they going to do? They're going to say, hey, go to Stephen Marley, like go work with them. You go
Yeah.
follow their book stage strategy. It's golden. It works. And that's what I want is I don't want to be the one saying, I am awesome. I want you to say I'm awesome to the world.
Yeah. Turn you into the marketer.
Yeah, because marketers are going to tell you they're awesome. They're going to tell you every single day of the week. The other thing that you mentioned was just platform thinking. Like that's such a cool concept to me. And one of the things that I used to say a lot more is build capabilities, not courses. Like build a new
Mm,
capability, have a capability. A stage, your studio is a capability. My warehouse is a capability. Proprietary software is a capability. Why is it a capability? Because it's unique to you and something you can offer as part of that package. And so, the early days, it was like info product, info product, info product. And I'm like, well, if you start building capabilities, then all of a sudden your arsenal of how you serve and what you're able to do to accelerate delivery changes in a big way.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, like the fact that you have a studio is a crazy capability. And I love that you had the God moment that was like, Aren't those crazy? Like, I've had those moments and I'm
Sorry.
I've been
What else do you want from me?
"Where did that come from?" And then I'll tell my team this thing, and they're like, "Where did that come from?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but we have to do it. Like, we gotta
Yeah,
do it."
yeah,
It
yeah.
totally makes sense. That's awesome though. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think this idea of like if you're like me, and this here's another thing that came to mind when we did our decade in a day. When I did my decade in a day back in the inner circle days with Russell, and I was like, we have this business, we're doing these things, but like if I'm like, we can build a box experience on it. Nobody knows what a box experience is. So I'm like saying things that people don't know that they need, but when they know what it is we do, they know it.
They're like, "I need that." Yeah.
What would you recommend? Like, how do I educate people? And Russell's one recommendation was, well, when we came out with the perfect webinar, nobody knew that what the perfect webinar was, nor did they know that they needed it. And so the solution was .com secrets, write a book. And so his advice to me was, especially if you have a message that like you have the solution to someone's problem, they just don't know that they have the problem and or that you are the solution to the problem. Write a book. And to be
Yeah.
and not I'm assuming do you film when they're on stage as well? So does that generate content as well? So this whole content generation machine knowing you, I wouldn't expect anything less.
But yeah, we have videographers planted throughout that are getting B-roll so we can make a cool sizzle reel for the book. There's videographers going pulling people out for testimonial. I mean, we juice the event like crazy. And then one of the problems we ran into is it's a good problem, but I came up with this new funnel style. Nothing books calls faster than book funnels, and it actually changes the economics of what it costs to book funnels, book calls as well. As I whenever I found this from Meta. Meta itself says you're going to spend about 150 to $400 to book one sales call, and just to get it. And then you hope you've made a sale by the time you spend around 2 grand. But if you do it through a book funnel, a book starts usually at about $70 to sell a $20 book. And then you can optimize it down, and then a few upsells and such. But I came up with this model. So I was a door-to-door sales guy before I ever got on the internet. It I don't know why this took me so long to recognize. When you're a salesperson, you never ask a yes or no question, right? Do you want the product? Like that's sales 101. You never ask a yes or no because you gave them the option to say no. And so they obviously can still, but you don't present it to them and give them an out. And so I thought, how funny is it that when we're on the internet building a funnel, we put one product on the page, one product on the page. I have Tim Shields' book here next to me, so I'm just going to hold it up, right? Well, I guess
I
a
have
lot
the
of
book.
books. This is the one I grabbed. Yeah, there we go. So how funny is it that when we're on a sales funnel, that we ask yes, no questions when we put one product, right? So if I put just one, I'm saying, do you want it? Cool. Instead, I was like, what if we put the same product twice? I just wrote about this in my book. I'm so excited for it to come out. I call it the value decoy. So you put the same book twice. Do you want the book for 15 bucks? Or do you want the book for 15 bucks plus the audio book, the companion course, the sales call, the blah 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 blah. You just stack it. Who wouldn't take more for the same amount of money? So instead of a price decrease, you just do a value increase. And I call it the value decoy. And you're
Cool.
putting a phone call on the second option for the same amount of money. And we do it on the upsell. We do it everywhere. So do you want more for the exact same amount? Dude, after years of doing that with cold ads, I've had as much as 84% of people take the one with the phone call and people call us saying, "Where's my phone call?" I was like, I've never had that happen before. It was crazy when I first started doing that a couple of years ago. And then I was like, what if we did it on the upsell? Do you want this upsell? That's a yes, no. I got to change the decision tree in their head to a yes, yes. Which of these upgrades do you want? So I only ever put two. Do you want the course? Do you want this thing for, $97? Or do you want the course plus a priority call with our team for $97? So we actually use the book funnel economics to book far more phone calls than you could with a phone funnel in the traditional sense. And now every funnel is a phone funnel. What started happening from this, we did this with Ryan Lee's book. What happens from this is people call in asking to buy. It's crazy. If you buy a book, you tend to be a certain different mindset and usually a closer to the whole, if you will, in terms of golf, like closer to the whole customer for a phone sale. And so the next problem this created was that we started asking our clients to go and be phone sales companies. Yeah, it's like now they have to go learn how to get a salesperson. They got to learn how, like, or they sell them. It's terrible. And most people just, it's a different mindset. So we actually partnered with this massive phone company and they just close all the phone leads for them now. but it comes back to the capabilities thing. I was like, so I call it follow-up problems. First, we'll solve one problem, but then what are all the follow-up problems? And when you can solve follow-up problems that your product created for them and bundle it as part of the original offer, you create really strong offers. And so I just think about, all right, it's like a car. You buy a car, great, I can go from point A to point B, but the follow-up problems are where do I get gas and with oil, insurance, follow-up problems. And so the way I've created offers has shifted a little bit where I'm like, the bonuses, so to speak, that we're all used to creating from the info space are not just random stuff. It's follow-up problems that they won't have until they buy from me. And I'm going to solve those too and make that the stack in the offer.
This is genius. I'm trying to think of, like, in terms of that value decoy, where else have I seen anything like it? The closest I could think of, and it's not exactly the same, was One Funnel Away challenge when Russell did, do you want the challenge or do you want the challenge with the box? They were the same price, you just added shipping to it. So it was a little bit more, but
Yeah.
still it was another one of those that I'm just like, box or no box, same price, just pay shipping. You'll
Yeah.
get it for free, just cover the cost. Is the closest I could think of, but like how you frame that, you're right. Like, why would I not want the course or whatnot? To me, it's like any physical product I build, do you want the box? Do you want 57 hats or do you want 57 hats with the online portal, a call with one of our specialists, and a free workshop walking you through exactly how to get the most out of this and save, 5 hours of time in your week? Like, you're right. Why would I choose A when I can choose B in that? And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's a no brainer in that model. And then to do it on the upsell page as well.
Yeah. And then even if they don't choose the call option on the thank you page, I don't call them thank you pages anymore or confirmation or success. I've learned that those close the buying loop. And so you've just done all this work to open the buying cycle, but then you close it with language that is final. And so now all of our quote unquote thank you pages or the final page of the funnel, we call them onboarding pages. Let's get you started. Here's your next 3 steps. Here's the things to be doing now. Let's get you going. Number one, log into what you got. Number two, go through this little piece. Number three, book a call with us. So even if they don't choose one of the options with a phone call, I still it's everywhere. And it's cheaper compared to a phone funnel. And so just all of them, it lets us scale really, really quickly. It's crazy. It's been awesome.
I like why to me that's brilliant is, from customer journey, we do a lot of customer journey design. A lot of people say thank you page, so sales journey is done. Like you're just saying,
Yeah,
no, the journey is just beginning. We're transitioning you into onboarding and delivery. The process is beginning now. It doesn't stop. There's no ending. It's okay, let's get started. You ready? Let's go in that
yeah,
model. And then you just keep
yeah,
them in momentum, which part of it is also I know if people consume your products, the likelihood of them buying more of your products goes up significantly. And I
yeah,
also have this belief that people don't want a lot of mentors and buy from a lot of different people. I think people are just searching for their trusted mentor that they just know if I buy from this person, it's going to be good quality content and it's going to deliver the result. Whereas if I buy from someone new, it's a risk. And so that like I want to create a good experience because I want to position myself as your trusted mentor. We've been delving deep into acquisition. I love to ask this question to everyone who comes on the show, which is customer life cycle. There's 3 phases: acquisition, how people find you to buying your products and services; onboarding, delivery, which is focused on preparing them for the journey of the product they bought to getting that first outcome. And then retention is all about lifetime value or the next journey that you can support them with. If I were to ask you to pick one category, acquisition, onboarding and delivery, or retention, what would you choose?
I love all three. Definitely acquisition is my thing though.
I told him before the call, I was like, I knew it was going to be acquisition. Totally makes sense because we've been already delving deep into it. The question I have for you around acquisition, and so we talked a little bit about this before the call. When it comes to this day and age that we live in, this age of AI, it feels like the acquisition game has changed in a significant way, especially in the online space. If I were to say, what advice would you have for a business owner of how to think through acquisition differently or how to approach acquisition in this day and age? Kind of what are some of the tips that you would recommend?
Yeah, I actually think, I had a friend who not long ago, he was like, AI has made it harder. And I was like, it's actually made it easier. Your messaging's correct. So I think, you think about the era that we started in, it was different. The person who was the loudest got paid, right? Just so
Totally.
omnipresence was the game. So you're just like, I mean, I would take one video and I would repurpose it to 17 platforms every day for 2.5 years. And that's really how, I mean, it was expensive, but it worked. It was intense. And that's how you won back then. And then I found data around this, by the way, around 2020, 2021, AI quite literally like ate the internet. And omnipresence was no longer the jam. It was more about like fewer pieces of content that were more potent. But it in the last like 2 or 3 years, it's almost like it's come back to the middle where we want volume and value. And where people have been messing up, I feel like, is they think, AI is gonna create all my stuff. Well, I still want human input, but I'll have AI syndication. And so that's the way I think about it now. So
Mm,
it still matters what you're saying. I don't want AI junk. I don't want AI slop, but I will use AI for all the human processes that it takes to syndicate and repurpose and plant and post and all that stuff. So daily leads is actually very easy if that's part of what my book's about. It's a positioning problem. Daily leads comes down to positioning and messaging. If I have my customer totally figured out, I have my market figured out, which those are two different things. A lot of people think that markets are people. They're not, they're places. I need a dream customer and I need to know the market that they're in. So if I have those two, then the second part is I need to understand my customer journey more than ever. That is the piece that
mhm.
has gotten more intense as because AI lets you put so much stuff out, they're putting out content that's not actually targeted at a very specific place in my very specific customer's journey. They're targeting the whole journey. They're targeting no market. They're just putting stuff all over the place, and they're like, it got harder. It's like, no, if you're still more narrowed, it's actually gotten a lot easier to reach that person. So the way I think about it, I'm really excited. This is my second book. I'm calling it Red Ocean Blue Offer. I've not started writing it yet, but I'm excited
I
for
was
it.
gonna say I was gonna ask you when and where can I get it?
Yeah, yeah. The material's done and ready. I just now I have to actually write it. I'm really against Red Ocean, Blue Ocean. It's a really good strategy if you're going to go be Russell or, Steve Jobs. Like birthing a market is very hard. Most people don't actually want to go through that. What they really want is just more money for their family, more time for, investments and vacations and you know what I mean? And so if
Do
someone is
yeah.
not trying to go off and like invent a category, they should stop trying to position themselves like that as well. Red Ocean, Blue Ocean is designed for that. And if you go and read all those books, which I have, and you actually study what they're talking about category design. But you don't have to invent a market to become royalty in it, right? It's actually easier to disrupt an existing market than it is to create one from scratch. And so what this really does is if someone doesn't have daily leads, they don't have any positioning, like hands down, full stop. What I have our clients do, we actually do this with books too. You say you're not writing a book for just the world. You're gonna go dumb. What is the biggest, fattest, most cutthroat red ocean you can find? I want razor thin margins, the most bloody competition possible. You know, that smells like money. And they're always like, what? It's like, I want it simply competitive. Opposite of what college taught, opposite of what most entrepreneurship goes after. I got to create a blue ocean. No, you don't. I'm going to stay in the big fat red ocean because it's where all the people are. It's where the spending is happening. Thank you, competitors. And what's interesting is I will position my messaging now for someone inside of the red ocean at a very specific spot in the customer journey. This little graph I keep in my head, and that's how I position everyone. And my competitors, quote unquote, actually are attracting my future customers for me. And so I don't care if they go and buy. Like when I worked at ClickFunnels, man, it was so funny when someone came out. They're like, "Someone else is. Are you so mad at the other funnel company? Are you so mad at that?" They started popping up all over the place. And in my head, I was like, "No, they just validated the market. There's no market if there's only one company. So until there's a second, there's no market." Well, what started happening, and I started observing there, is that someone would buy some funnel tech from another funnel company. Every company produces disenchanted customers, frustrated people. Well, that person was actually easier to sell than someone who'd never heard of funnels before. They got educated off the back and off the dollar and time of the competitor. So the way I position is I always position myself in a giant big fat red ocean because it's a self-replenishing source of people who've already opened their wallet. A fraction of them always get disenchanted and frustrated. And now my messaging just says, let me guess, you thought you were one funnel away, right? And I didn't have to go spend that money to go do that and you just get daily leads forever like that. We do that in every category that we go after. And so if someone's trying to figure out how to get daily leads and they're just not, they have a messaging issue and they have a positioning issue.
Yeah.
They rarely have an offer problem.
I agree with everything. I mean, because there's days that I feel like Custom Box Agency landed in a big open blue ocean, and our hardest thing is now we have to educate people on us and then like create the desire of like who we are and what we're about. Whereas you're totally right, is as we get to a certain point, I expect there to be copycats of our business. I expect there to
Sure.
be people who do what we do or say that they could do equally of what we do. And I get excited for the reason of what you're describing, which is I want more competition in this category. Like I'm not afraid of it. It's helping me grow the category. Whereas you're totally right to say you can find in a bloody red ocean a razor thin, this is a massive problem, and then all of a sudden create your own offshoot. But you're right, because you're right. You don't have to educate people. They don't have to learn about like what is a funnel. They already know what a funnel is because the market trained them on it. So it becomes a lot
Yeah.
easier in terms of how you slice that out versus crazy me doing the thing that they said don't do, which is create a new concept, which I've been having a
Uh,
lot of fun with,
sure.
but it's that much harder to, and it takes a little bit longer to let it matriculate because the people are going to be like, oh, you do swag boxes. And we're like, no, swag is stuff without a goal. They don't have a file folder in their head for exactly what they do, whereas they have file folders for all these other activities that have a lot more active markets.
Without a goal, I love that.
Yeah, that's what
I was
we have to call it something. I have to throw a
I
stone.
love that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the
it's
reality
easier
is
to
we shouldn't
be
even be comparing ourselves to swag. It's just a different category of what it is that we do. So I shouldn't even say that, but somebody asked me in the community, "You need to make that into an acronym," and it just rolled off, and I'm like, "Huh,
yeah.
that works."
I love that. It's easier to be blue in a red than it's easier to go create a blue outside of it. And so this AI has actually been very helpful at defining the walls of the red ocean market and figuring out what is the customer journey. And hey, AI, here's my product. Here's what we do for them. Here's the outcomes. Here's the market the big fat red ocean are going for. Here's my customer journey and when my product makes sense for them to buy. So you don't try to sell the whole journey. Help me figure out all the pain points. What are they looking up? What's the and then it's like, this is an accelerant. But before that, it's just like shotgun, shotgun, shotgun. You're not really hitting anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have seen that shift in a big way because we could just throw a big net hoping we catch something in the process. And now I feel like that net's getting a lot more precise and a lot smaller in order to really get the attention that you want in this game. It's interesting hearing you talk. One of the things that we're going to start exploring within our own business because of AI as an enabler for acquisition is in the sales process. If we have a high ticket prospect, can we build instead of my love language is PowerPoint or it was PowerPoint and now PowerPoint is
Sure,
like,
sure.
nobody cares. It's like a dead love language. And then like when people would get in our process, we'd send them a PDF of like, oh, here's our story and all of our stuff, and you're flowing through it. Like in this day and age, I can build a SaaS platform that allows me to basically turn our sales collateral into hyper customized microsites for our prospects. So imagine that I actually send you a portal that has a video that has been generated that is talking to you personally. All the tabs have different ways that you can leverage what we have, but the mock-ups are of their brand and they're seeing a real thing in real time. And all this can be generated with our logo and their logo in this clean interactive portal. But we're at this day and age that AI can crunch and do so much more that I can design this to do it, have this fully fledged portal that feels very custom to the individual, bring the life and the story to life for their needs that allows that to do a lot of the, click through questions. There could be a calculator in there as well, but something that if I got on a follow up call, I can easily give it like walk them through it and then give them access to it. But I need them to see themselves in our business and what we can bring to them. And so it's something we'll test, but I'm like, for me to customize a PDF or do all this messaging, all this can be put on autopilot and feel huge, but not be a huge effort in order for it to assemble when you build out the baseline of it and create that shell. So that's something we're
I'm
going to be
actually,
testing with it. I'm curious to see how that goes, but I
yeah,
mean, just to see how sophisticated even videos like Hey Gen and combining with all the other pieces for this automatic gen, like it's crazy to see things that would take time. We're getting our time back more than ever in this game.
I'm not afraid of AI at all, actually. In fact, I'm a hardcore optimist of AI. People are really afraid it'll replace jobs, and it already has and such. It reminds me of a book that I had to read in one of my design classes in college. It was called This Whole New Mind by Daniel Pink. Oh, it was so powerful. I didn't know why we had to read it in a graphic design class, but the premise of the book is Daniel Pink goes in and he talks about how, if you look at human history, we have a pattern of automating left brain activities. It's like, right, and anything that's left brain, we will find a way to automate, and there's not a lot of value, if you will. Like left brain activities keep getting automated. Well, there's now a machine that is literally self harvesting our crops, right? There's now a machine. Anything that's left brain. There's a machine that does coding. There's a machine. Anything that's left brain continues to be automated and optimized and then he says, therefore, the future always belongs to the right brain thinker. And if you think about what AI has done, all it did was a ton of left brain activities were now finally able to go be done. very, very quickly. So yes, those who had left brain jobs, they're the ones feeling the heat. But I think what is going to happen is humanity is just going to start learning its own creativity again. What are we going to do when all these jobs are taken care of? I guarantee we'll figure it out. And it's probably going to be something creative and more time for creative pursuits. Things we can't even name yet are going to come out. I mean, AI wasn't really a thing even 10 years ago, not commercially anyway. And it's like, we'll just have the next problem set come out. There's no reason to fear it.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, for me, it's I'm lucky that I'm in physical products because I don't think we're gonna be replaced anytime soon. But again, I could fear it and be like, oh, it's coming for our jobs. Or I could say, well, how does our narrative change around physical products as an enabler to AI and digital in a way that people, and then we can get into experience design and we can talk about the journey and all the pieces of how these worlds come together. And so, in that sense, it's fun thinking about how the game is going to evolve, but more importantly, defining the game. There's an element that
Yeah.
we now are at the core of this to say we're at the front end where we may, I mean, it makes me think of Barry and Blue during COVID. No one had a good
Yeah.
formula for virtual events. They came and pioneered what has become, and it doesn't mean it was the right formula. It's just the best formula that's in front of you right now until someone else innovates. But I would say Barry Baumgartner and Blue Melnick innovated in an incredible way, rather than saying this is a big beast. They solved it, and what did they discover as a result of it? They can make more money leveraging a virtual event or a hybrid event than just a live event, in the sense of like the model could work or it could work in a certain situation. So they kind of validated a case that people didn't think, oh, you can make the same amount of money at a virtual event as you can at a live event. And I think we know that we see conversion rates when you're in the room and everything's a little bit higher in those models, but you also have scale for a virtual event in a way that you don't have when you have bodies in a room. And so all of a sudden, the person who lives overseas can now participate in your event and be in a position to potentially get that higher ticket offer at the end of the event, just because they innovated and they thought differently and proved that it works. I don't know. It's exciting. Are you a
Yeah.
lefty or are you righty?
Right hand.
Right now, I was gonna say I'm a lefty. I feel like maybe I just am groomed to use the right half of my brain. I love the creative part. That's like I'm with you to say in this age of AI, I am not afraid of it. I'm excited for what it can do, but we truly all need to be thinking about how does AI enable every role in your team right now? And like I hear a lot of businesses talk about AI first mindset, that everyone needs to be using AI tools in their role to accelerate time and the ability to deliver. I'm not concerned about losing jobs right now and what we do because of how we're repositioning how people work, and it allows them to be more efficient. It's an enabler in the process.
Yeah. One of my favorite books, it's written by an economist, called Prediction Machines.
I haven't
Dude.
read any of these books.
Yeah, Prediction Machines is really good because he's not an entrepreneur and he's not an AI expert. He's a economist. He actually runs Creative Destruction Lab. And he
That's such a
he wrote, yeah, great name, right? But what's interesting is in this book he talks about how no business owner will ever actually use any kind of AI tool without first reassessing and understanding their own company better. And that as his firm, as they've gone around and helped companies install AI, funny enough, the thing that they all have to do, and many have never done, is these business owners have to sit down and actually draw out what is our acquisition process, and they've never actually drawn it, right? What is our sales process? They don't know their own processes.
um,
AI is not necessarily for tools, it's for processes. uh, that's how you deploy agents. That's how you go replace left brain workforce and keep the right brain stuff open. And I've been noticing the same thing. Every person who goes off and tries to use AI to create content, or AI to go off and do sales calls, or AI, no one can go do it well. In fact, only McKinsey just came out and talked about only 26% of companies who use AI ever get any kind of ROI at all. And it's because they're just like, well, we now have chat enabled with AI. It's like, that's not its function. Its function is to sit down and say, what is the process already, no AI included, to acquiring customers, the process for sales, for delivery, for resale, upsell. And then when you first draw that out, you understand and remodel your company in such a way that AI can step in. Oh my gosh, we have 4 processes for acquisition. That's what AI can go do now. And I think that's its real true power. It's not in content creation. It's fun and cute, but it will be in replacing,
yeah.
yeah, with processes.
And I think about my own business, and process is what allows me to have the freedom in my business too. Is that if we didn't know our processes and they weren't dialed in, then the buck stops with me. And I don't want to build a business. The buck stops with me because I will become the bottleneck and we'll go nowhere. But like, I couldn't agree more is that like people go through the processes that have been defined. Technology enables the processes to allow people to do what they need to, where how this all comes together. But that center line, through line is like how dialed in are your process? Do you even know what your process is to your point, Steve? Because if you don't know what your process is, then it's just like you're just churning. Like this worked, we'll
Yeah,
try it again. Well, but we don't have a repeatable system. More importantly, you can't have AI come in or you can't replace yourself with AI or another person if you're looking to, I mean, this is all how many hats are you wearing in your business? So
yeah,
the more that we define process, and again, even when things go wrong, process will tell you where things break down. So if things go wrong, you can see where's the buck stopping in the process. If you know what the process is, you can't figure out where the breakdown is to fix it with
yeah,
AI, with people, with new processes.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we're getting close to the end, and I wanted just to say final word. I don't know if you have any final thoughts or final word you want to share before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think that that is, I know that I think the funnest part about what's happening right now is watching people rediscover creativity and their voice. It's like this was no different than when the car came out or the personal computer. There was a freak out. People realized they had to retool, and those who retooled progressed, and those who didn't got stuck in old income models. And that's all this is. And AI is not a process, it's a tool in the process that you design. And so what's really fun is when you sit down and go, I need to be a systems thinker more than I ever was as a business owner, ever, and design the system. And real, it's a huge difference between a framework and a process, and it's for process. And if I sit down and I start drawing this out, I actually can design things where my only job is to be creative. And there's this lady I interviewed, she's 21-year-old girl I interviewed, and she was like, she started a six-figure a year handyman company and doesn't know how to fix a thing in a house. And I was like, why did you choose handyman business? How did you do any of this stuff? And she goes, AI. I don't need to know how to swing a hammer. She goes, AI gets the leads, sells them, does the bidding, creates the contract, gets all of it. And she goes, I just literally AI built my entire thing. And I have heard more and more people talk about this, and I'm watching more and more people do it, where it's actually a really fun world we get to live in if you'll retool. Our job is to just be creative, and all the boring stuff that all of us hate doing anyway. That's what AI's job is. So it's a very fun, exciting place to be in. And definitely got to change with the change for sure with it. But I found that more of the resistance comes from someone being afraid to discover their own creativity or find their own voice. That's really what we're in the business of. They go through the stage in the book thing, but what I really watch them go through is find confidence in their own voice. But this is what I really think. I can go share my thoughts and opinions. And then you have all these cool things that are just supporting that. There's no reason to learn funnel building anymore.
Yeah.
There's no reason to learn phone sales anymore. There's no reason to, and this will elevate, from the entrepreneur to business owner mindset. And then after that, it's business owner to investor. And it's almost like we can now just almost skip straight to business owner and investor because it goes off and does everything else. I don't have to know how to do anything anymore except think. It's awesome.
It's like I'm excited to see like the cascade effect because what's going to be happening is that anytime you need to, once you have this creative mindset, I think about like elementary school. Like they're going to be building apps that there's some problem or use case that they need to solve for. And rather than doing research or going out and buying something, or they'll just build it themselves. And so, like, you're right to say that creativity at any age, I don't need to. I remember cramming for the science test in fifth grade, like having the textbook
Yeah.
open and you just cram for 24 hours. And now I'm like, that's such a dead modality because why would I need to cram when I just need to get smarter on the questions I ask AI or the prompt? So it's almost like, why do I need to know this when I just need to know how to get to the answer? And it's a
Mm.
very fundamental different shift of thinking from when we were growing up and going through school. Like we didn't even have laptops when I was in elementary. High. I remember life before the internet, which is really sad to say
Yeah.
before the internet.
Yeah.
But it's such a prime opportunity with you're right with the creativity and just changing the lens. People who think it's overwhelming. It was like my mother refused to have an iPhone until I told her there's going to be a day that that touch flip phone that you have with like the 9 buttons is obsolete and you're going to be forced and you're just going to be at an older age in life. And now, once she realized the power and can get her mind around how to utilize it, I can't pull her phone away from her. She's playing solitaire all the time. Like she loves it. She's taking pictures, she's documenting things, but it opened up this whole new world for her once she decided to embrace it, which I think is really powerful. But I think you're right. This day more than ever, if I can live in my creativity, I'm going to be a happy man.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
This was killer. I appreciate you so much, Steve. Last question for you ultimately is if people want to learn more about you, where can they find out more about you?
Yeah. Sometimes I do a good job of posting social media stuff. Seasons I don't. Honestly, the best place is probably titansofindustry.com or stevedlarsen.com.
Awesome. Awesome. So we'll
Cool.
post those with this as well. But I can't thank you enough. It's so good catching up with you, my friend.
Yeah, you
Thank
too.
you for coming on Dash Talks Live. Always a pleasure to have you. And for those who are listening, if you want to be on a future episode of Dash Talks Live, just go to dashtalkslive.com and submit an application. We'd love for you to join us for a future conversation. Until next time, it's Mark Stern with Steve Larsen. Steve, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, take care. Thank you for joining me, Mark Stern, on this episode of Dash Talks Live. If something in this conversation sparked an idea for you, take a moment to share this episode with another entrepreneur who could benefit from it. And if you think you'd be the next best guest for Dash Talks Live, come visit us at dashtalkslive.com, fill out the form, and join us for a future episode. Be sure to follow the show so you don't miss future conversations with founders and builders who are creating what's next. And if you want to learn more about designing your own customer journeys and experiences, come visit us at customboxagency.com and have a free consultation. Meet with a member of our team. Until next time, keep building with intention. Cheers.